Brian Barrett signed in. Okay, hello. Brian Barrett here.
Good evening, it's 6:01. This is the regular business meeting of the Smithfield Township Board of Supervisors. Please join me in reciting the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. And I'm recording with myself, Chair Jake Pride, Vice Chair Robert Lovenheim, Supervisor Brian Barrett via Zoom, Township Manager Julia Heilica, Engineer John Tressler, and Solicitor Ron Harrison. In terms of announcements, we have our budget meeting set for November 1st, November 8th, and November 15th, 10 a.m. No, it's still set. So the next order of business is the consideration of the minutes from September 27th, October 11th, and October 18th. And I had a chance to review these ahead of time. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Lovenheim, second by Mr. Barrett. Any questions?
I do have a question. The September 27th meeting minutes were approved at the last board meeting, but were never posted, and here we are approving them again. I'm wondering why the, maybe I have the timing confused, but.
I asked the board to table the minutes in the 27th meeting last meeting, so they weren't approved.
Oh, they weren't, okay,
Yeah.
so I was, okay,
So they'll be uploaded tomorrow.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All in favor? Aye. Brian, can I get your vote on the minutes there?
And what was this now?
The vote on the minutes?
Jacob, I'm having trouble hearing you.
We're voting on the minutes.
Yeah, I said I second them.
Okay, right, but then, all right, so then Robert and I voted yes, so do you also vote yes?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We do not have any public hearings or plans to act on this evening, so we will proceed to the solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The report is somewhat reminiscent of what was talked about on September 27th. And that is that the Healthy Minds conditional use application for a private residential drug, alcohol, and substance abuse center will be on for a public hearing before the Board of Supervisors at your meeting of Wednesday, November 8th at 6 p.m. And that has been duly advertised and is ready to proceed. I have also reviewed various pleadings in the past month that have come in with respect to the Shawnee development or Shawnee Preservation Society lawsuit. Those pleadings dealt with basically documents that were filed by either Shawnee Valley, I'll call it, and or Mr. Hunter. They don't really necessarily deal with the township. The township has filed an answer to that complaint, along with various new matter, which is essentially affirmative defenses. And those affirmative defenses have already received a response from Shawnee. So they are done. I'm also working on, speaking of Shawnee, PRD, on the development agreements for that project, and also some additional agreements have come in for review with respect to the airstrip road condemnation. So other than those items, I'm trying to think, obviously, there was the stormwater ordinance that was advertised and voted upon, and also the noise ordinance that's been discussed and still is in drafting stages. In fact, I see it's on for an update on their new business. So that being said, I think it should take care of the reports for the last couple of weeks.
Thank you, Ron. John?
Brian here, a question for Ron. Ron, did you request an extension on that hearing for Healthy
Yeah.
Minds?
I did. I requested an extension until the
Second, I think 22nd of November.
22nd.
But
Right.
that's the day before Thanksgiving, so I was told by the attorney and the applicants that they do not want to be here on the day before Thanksgiving doing this hearing, so that they want to proceed on November 8th, and accordingly, that's how it's been advertised.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, I was about to say that, we have most of our projects, cleaned up. We're working on the bike park, finished the survey out there and working on addressing the conservation district comments to get that plan in order. And working on a couple of, estimates to be included in next year's budget for some projects that I've requested.
Great, thank you. First order of business is the consideration of the consent agenda, which includes the purchase of replacement equipment for the light. State Route 2012 and 2009. 209. Ratifying the yearly generator maintenance contract, and then also reviewing an informal or requesting an informal review from the Monroe County Planning Commission on the signage draft ordinance the Planning Commission has been looking at. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Levenheim, I will second. Any questions?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, the consideration of resolution number 535, reaffirming our commitment to health, safety, and welfare of residents across the township, including those in private communities. Robert, did you want to touch on that?
Yes, this is really restating what's already in the second class township code about our responsibilities. But I think it's important to reaffirm for everybody in the township that we are there and we are concerned with anything that has to do with health, welfare, or safety. Whether it's noise in on Taylor Drive from the zoning infraction, let's call it, whether it's water quality and shoreline protection in Lake Valhalla, or recently it's also a question of unsafe speed bumps that were put in Shawnee Valley. Okay, anything like that. That's what we do, and it's really saying it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter if it's private, community, or public. We are here and responsible for health, welfare, and safety, and that's in the second class township code. So it's really reaffirming our let's say our commitment to service. Nothing more than that.
Mr. Chair, with your permission, can I just speak to this for one moment? Sure. Brian, this is Ron, and hopefully you can hear me because I owed you a call today and unfortunately it just didn't work out. I've looked at this resolution and it generally is relatively generic. It does not say that the township is going to take over any roads or that they are going to be responsible for any roads, etc. That was a discussion that you and I had. It simply says that the township will make sure that people are protected, whether they're on public roads, private roads, or within property owners associations or regular single family residential or other homes. So I think it is okay. And I failed to give you a call to talk to you about it, but I wanted to do that now so that if you had any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Ron, no, I think you have answered them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Do I hear a motion on resolution number 535?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Levenheim, looking for a second.
A second, let me ask this, who wrote that resolution? I'm sorry, who wrote that resolution?
I wrote a draft and Julia took up the draft and made it into a resolution and changed it the way she wanted it.
I just think maybe you would recuse yourself. Anyway, I'll second the motion.
Okay, all right, motion by.
Robert, I appreciate you didn't make faces like that, my husband.
hold on. Hold on, we're done with public comment. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Not gonna go-
Hold on, who? Who's holding on? Jacob?
We were entertaining extraneous comment, we already took comment on the resolution, we moved on. You seconded it, we voted on it, it's done. Next is the consideration of the radar sign quote cooperative purchase. Our neighbors in Hamilton and Middle Smithfield are both interested in jointly purchasing the solar speed signs. We introduced this concept at council governments. This has helped reduce speed in a couple areas in our township, and we get a great discount if we do this cooperative purchase, so we will just invoice the difference to our neighboring municipalities. Is there anything I'm missing there, Julia?
Julia, the only question I have is how many? Didn't they go up on 6 each or not?
So the,
Hamilton and Little Smithfield?
what we have heard total is that the township is interested in purchasing one. We've heard confirmed from Mike Dwyer that Middle Smithfield is interested in purchasing two.
Yeah.
We have not had actual confirmation from Larry from Hamilton that they're interested in purchasing three.
Yeah.
So what I would actually recommend doing is definitely doing the three, but
Okay.
until we get for sure notice from Hamilton, and the way this works, they should be able to handle this on their own. And then passing those things.
It's just, it has to be done by the end of the month. That's
Right,
the deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I know is I got an email from Larry saying, yeah, we're in for three, so.
Buzzer.
Hmm?
Buddy Buzzer from Hamilton. Yeah, okay. All right, well,
So-
I'll take that as confirmation. Buddy's their roadmaster.
But you're right, they can order themselves if they really want.
All right,
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, and I just want to make sure it's Hamilton and Middle Smithfield that are aware of the project.
all right, thank you. Yeah, all right. Do we hear a motion on that?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Levenheim, second by myself. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Motion carries 2-1. Next is a discussion on the noise and nuisance ordinance update that we've been preparing for quite some time now. Who wants to start? We have a really solid draft here, and I know that we've had a number of reviews from everybody.
I will start from here. So the draft in front of you that was sent out and it's available on the website. Is an amalgam of two ordinances based on what the planning commission discussed at their last meeting. Dave Strunk actually came in and worked a lot with us and took a look at this. I just got our zoning officer comments back today. So I have a few more things that I definitely need to incorporate.
Yeah.
Plus anything that you guys want to discuss and change. And then the next time we see this, we'll be at the planning commission meeting in November.
In November.
I went over this with, one of the authors, just before the meeting here. And, I think it's pretty good. I think it answers all the questions. It's seems a little complicated, but as, he explained it, he wanted to put everything in here so that, it was complete, and that really what it only depends upon is, any one of us testing the sound, or any one of you, and then we can come out and also do it with a simple iPhone or Android app. In fact, I'll tell you what the app is because he gave it to me. It's called NIOSH SLM, NIOSH, and then the second word is SLM. And you can find it like in the Apple App Store, or I'm sure on Android, but it's very simple, and you just point it and it'll give you the decibel level in a fairly accurate way. And we'll use that as the first line of defense, and if somebody disagrees with it and says that we're not making that noise, then we'll get somebody who's an expert with a sound meter to have to go out there. But I think, the times of day it has and the levels are pretty good at it, but I'd like anybody's comments on it.
Sure.
Okay, so.
Yeah, well- Okay, I have a couple of comments. It seems to me that you were saying that in the noise ordinance, there'd be no plowing of snow after 6 o'clock. And I'm saying most of our snowstorms, like later in that and into the night and morning. So our guys are going to go out in our trucks. Will they be governed by this, the noise ordinance?
I think it says excluding
Yeah, but-
emergency work and so.
I'm looking for,
What section is he referencing?
so we're all in, section 307, restricted uses and activities. It says excluding emergency work, power tools, motorized equipment can be operated with a muffler, self-contained. Yeah.
Yeah, will our trucks, I'm sorry, Julia, will our trucks have the muffler suppressors?
I'm sorry, Brian, I didn't understand what you just asked. Did you say it again?
Will our trucks have the motor suppressors?
What do you do now?
Yeah, sure, we'll just buy one.
I don't know if they've got them, but under section C, it says, emergency work is excluded from all of this.
Yeah.
If it would make you feel better, we've got something from the last one. I'm sorry, I'm looking for it. I was sure I had it in here.
Item B.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Operation of lawn care, snow removal equipment. Safety warning, emergency pressure valves, emergency work.
Right.
So, I'll make sure, I'll double check and make sure that snow removal is in here, but the intent of the ordinance would be that our guys can go out and plow the roads.
There's nothing in the ordinance that precludes the township from fulfilling its lawful obligation to plow snow. We're not citing our road crew to perform their job, that's.
May I ask
Yes,
a question?
that would apply to excuse me, to others other than municipal operations, correct?
I just found the thing, any reasonable noise created by a government entity in performance of an official and necessary duty. So that covers any.
Not a government. I mean other than government. Private enterprise that has to plow roads. Would they fall under this?
No, it says that the motorized snow removal equipment shall be operated with a muffler and or sound reduction device. I mean, look, there's no sound reduction device on a plow, but like trucks have mufflers, it's not. The intent of the ordinance is not to reduce people's ability to create snow.
Okay, nice.
Yes, yeah, just so we can hear that.
I know this is like temporary until you get through the whole thing, but my question is, I thought it had to be like an authorized meter thing. You're saying now you can do it with an app?
Well,
That's what I'm wondering, is there gonna be legal ramifications on that?
explained to me by one of the authors of it in the planning commission, was that the way he set this out, we could use a portable app meter for the first, let's say, readings of this thing. And we would use that if somebody objected and said, you're using only an amateur meter, we would then send out authorized sound person to be able to get off, very, very accurate reading. I don't think they'll have many comments, and it would only happen if somebody took it to court and said, it's not 65 decibels, we're only producing 63.
I was gonna ask you, so far, what do you have the decimal point at? Did you get to that yet?
To it.
Like the decimal point? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got it all in here. Yes.
Why didn't it?
I'm gonna take my copy.
You know, well, I'm a little bit of that, cause I
I think it's
figured-
on the website. wasn't it? Or was it, I think mine.
Okay, because we did, because you had three things on there and we're trying to determine which one it was. But, okay, thank you. I'll get it back.
Yeah, there's a couple of tables that explain, the difference between, someone with a weighted sound level standard or, the different times. 7 to 10, 65, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., 50, things like that. It depends on the specific use, and then there's the specific standards for the places that would be utilized.
Okay, I was just wondering, because we did borrow a meter from someone. And it came in at 91 something this week, so we're way above that, so,
Okay.
okay, we'll get this back then, thank you. Okay.
Where does this go with snowmaking equipment and the concerts at Shawnee every Tuesday? I mean, they go as far as my house.
Sorry for you.
Snowmaking equipment at night, it runs all night.
I hear it all night long.
Sure.
Where'd you see it?
We're talking about the snow making equipment at the skate
And
park.
concerts at Shawnee every Tuesday. I mean, you're gonna stop that?
No, the concerts aren't any stuff. I mean, it
Sounds
does.
to me like some people will be able to do it, others won't.
No, that's not the intention. The intention of the ordinance is to have a balanced approach. That's why it's in draft form tonight, and it's gonna continue to receive feedback before it would be considered for final adoption, both by the county and our own engineering as well.
Well, we should definitely exempt that, you know.
It's a thing to note,
Needs.
not necessarily exemptions, but it's good to know what standards, so and that's a good thought. But no, the intention is not to stop concerts or anything like that. Go ahead, you can say your name for the record.
My name is Kristen Carroll. Just two points to mention, and I haven't read the ordinance, but I hear that you're saying certain hours, the decibel tolerance, the upper limit would be 50 decibels. And I just think that seems too low. Michael here was just using the app when Robert, you were talking a few minutes ago, and I thought you were actually talking low and you were registering 50 on that app. So you might wanna really look at what decibel.
Sure,
is
absolutely.
what.
And
I think
will
that
say
might
that
be a
the
smidge
thought is
low.
this is supposed to be measured from your own property anyway, so it's unlikely to be like this distant,
Right,
but
right,
sure.
right.
I can't even hear you.
Understood. And then, and my other thought is that, at times, not always, but at times, by the time someone gets out there with a certified measurement tool, the disturbance could well be over. So I don't know how much, oomph that might have when it's applied to the real world.
I mean,
Stuff to think about.
good, and that although it's gonna be difficult with anything, a lot of people.
It will, it's a
stop
sticky,
there.
the sticky wicket, I get it.
Yeah.
Can you screenshot that then? You know what I'm saying? You're taking that, can you screenshot it then?
Sure.
I mean, we
that's how
need pictures of the sound thing.
Yeah,
But you also wouldn't have, like, you could take it, but what was really causing, how would you be able to prove that it was that noise that was making that? Down the road, it's something that could be, I think, easily fought and dismissed.
You have a second phone and somebody videos the decibel meter, that's what you kind of have to do. And then you.
Yeah, that
your
would
own
work,
turn too, I
but-
think, the thought would be, you also record it.
Marco, was that you?
I mean, I think as a deterrent for habitual offenders, it's great to have this. And I understand what Christine is saying. If you have a neighbor that has one single party, one bonfire, and they have these events and it wasn't caught on, that's totally not what this nuisance ordinance, I think, is designed to do. I think it's designed to protect the township from events and people and loopholes getting in certain areas and zoning issues. The only thing from what my quick reading of this is that I believe that the fining is probably not worded well enough to deter someone that's trying to monetize a business or an entity, because it's just written as we have the right to fine up to 1,000. I mean, I think there needs to be something for escalating events and occurrences, whether it's per year, per month, per day, whatever, because
Like an increase structure.
right, because the way it's written now, I would assume that our situation that we're dealing with now could easily handle up to 1,000 per event based on what their plans for that facility are in the future.
That they would just build that into their cost.
They would
of doing
monetize that
business.
into their
Right,
provisions.
right. It's not a fine, it's a fee.
So that's the only thing, that's the only thing I've kind of seen, but in terms of thoroughness, this is much better. I think it's, you know, and I would say that Ron would have a much better.
We're not trying to be the sound police.
Right.
The first thing should be warned about. Shut up your dog.
Robert, how can you justify, and I'm not from the bike park, but how can you justify letting them do it? I mean, making them stop when you let Shawnee still make snow and concert and have concerts, it's a business. I mean,
Ryan, you're having trouble functioning with the noise, we're gonna mute you. When the dog's quiet down, you'll mute yourself, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
you justify going after one business and not all business, when you have to treat all businesses the same.
Well, I think it's where there's a complaint, that's the first thing, okay? We only respond to a complaint. If nobody's complaining, then it doesn't matter. We're not going out and saying every business is something we're gonna measure. If it serves somebody, that's the basis of it, like, then we'll look into it.
Yeah, but you're saying like you're not gonna, that Shawnee can run their snow equipment and concerts and this and that, but the bike park can't make noise. I don't think legally that's gonna.
Well, we're not talking about,
Stand up.
now we're talking about the bike park, we're talking about these motorcycles that are running every day and disturbing everybody who lives around it. It's not like Shawnee. And maybe with Shawnee, what we'll have to do is say, you need a special permit at the beginning of the year so that you can run all this equipment all during the snow season. Who knows?
Well, I'm just saying you have to treat all businesses equal. They all should have to go by the same standard.
No one's planning to not, but there are different standards for different uses. You know, especially that, so we have to, look into that. I mean, there's other municipalities that basically deal with this. Maybe even Middle Smithfield has something because they're going to, be getting that noise from East Shawnee also. And you
I
have your.
was just going to say, Kathy Schoen, I'm a resident of the township. I'm sorry, Kathy, what, Schoen? Doing this stuff. If you would mind. SCHOENHERR. Does the zoning come into play? For instance, that's where that bike park is specifically residential. Does that impact? But Pam was saying you do for every business. I understand, I get your point, but does the zoning come into play?
It should. That's what it should.
It does in that bike park in another way, which is they're violating the rules of R1 zone by running a business there.
That's what I was.
Right.
So that's
Um,
completely
getting
different than
to,
that.
yeah.
Yes, we've begun enforcement proceedings on that already, but I guess. To further address what you're saying too, the thought is that any of these noises are gonna be burdensome in any zone, so we chose not to address them specifically by zone. Because you might have unruly repairs going on, in your R1 neighborhood, but you also might have it if you live, in a house that's adjacent to a commercial property, so we want it to be broadly applicable.
And one of the problems of zoning enforcement is that it has to go through the zoning steps. In other words, can our zoning officer can cite somebody. Then they have 30 days to try to see if they want to appeal to the zoning hearing. After that 30 days, if they appeal, they have to wait till the board hears them, which can take a while because they have to advertise and they get up to the next meeting. Or they can, if they don't appeal it, he can start fining them after the 30 days. But it's like, okay, what do you do for the 30 days? They can just keep going like they're going. And in this case, I don't know, but I think what's happening is they'll probably appeal the day before that 30 days ends. That means that the zoning hearing board has to schedule them on the next hearing, which might be December, and they have to advertise first. So by the time they ever get heard, it's the end of the season. What do they care?
Yeah, I've got you.
So with
And
the
thank you all
zoning,
for being so patient.
with the noise ordinance, it's not in zoning, it's in a different chapter where we can go immediately and say, okay, you're violating this, we can find it.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Rick.
Why don't you find them every day when they do it? Every day they do it, they are breaking the law, find them. Hit them in the pocketbook. Then when we do have the hearing, they'll have to pay a fine for every day they broke it.
With the existing enforcement, we can't levy the fine in that manner. We have to await the close of that appeal period.
With this new ordinance, we'll be able to do it. Like
Wait, don't flag it.
every day.
Couldn't like the first day that you saw like traffic going in and the motocross, like that first week, couldn't you go up and put orange tape across the driveway and tell the people, hey, this isn't a commercial business, it's a residential business?
I did that.
And didn't keep the people out?
We don't have that ability to do that.
We don't have the authority to shut someone down if they're.
But
in
it's a
violation.
zoning violation.
I went out there and I said, you're violating our zoning laws, this is not allowed in our one zone.
Maybe we got on the website and told the people that are coming here that it's illegal and that they're gonna get fined. And we're gonna take pictures of the license numbers going in and out.
We also
It'll
don't
stop
have,
people from coming.
we also don't have that authority. We can't, go into someone's business and do that. They're presumed innocent the same way someone else would be. So unfortunately, we can't just unilaterally do that.
Now, if you give them a ticket, can they appeal it?
Again, we don't have a police force.
Well, I mean, you're saying that,
They've already been cited. We began enforcement proceedings, but we can't give them ticket, much less the people that go there.
no, I mean, the sound ordinance, once you give them a ticket, can they appeal it?
Sure, but that begins that process immediately.
And that would be in court, wouldn't it? Not anywhere else.
Correct.
So you're still gonna drag on and on.
No, it saves you that initial appeal window, so it doesn't go before the zoning hearing board. It's not a zoning offense, it's a general offense within our general policing power. That's the difference.
Now, who do they call you to, these people call you to when they have a problem, who's gonna take care of it?
Anyone that would be authorized by the ordinance to be what's called the noise control officer, I guess is the technical term.
So you're available 24 hours a day?
And not necessarily, I think.
Or are we gonna hire another person to do that?
One of the reasons to call it a zoning and noise enforcement officer is that the enforcement officer can say deputize us as noise enforcement officers also. So the whole idea is, yeah, we can get out there at night, or we can't get out there on a Sunday, or we can't get out there when the zoning officer isn't available. And but when Tammy knows, when she started complaining, I came out on a Sunday morning. You wouldn't get the zoning officer out on a Sunday morning, he's not working Sunday, but I did, and if somebody called me at night, I come up. And I think that's true, and whenever we can, there's, we have limited resources, and it's really 3 or 4 of us.
But that would require the residents at large to have a direct number to whomever it is that's on call for that 24
Right,
hours.
and that's
So
what.
3 a.m.
But that's not.
How
gonna
will
be
they know?
ordinance.
How will they know who called them? How, in order to put that ordinance into practice, then people need to have, the residents need to have access to the mechanisms behind the
And we
ordinance
would
that help
absolutely
the
make
township
sure
to
that they
enforce
but
it.
that, we would absolutely do that, but that's not gonna be part of the rest of the ordinance itself. Because that's gonna be operational practice and that can change on a daily basis.
Right,
So,
but has that been considered is, I guess, the question I'm asking, how are you going to put it into
that has been
practice?
considered, and that's why they had portions of the ordinance that allows for flexibility in enforcement and personnel. So we don't have that stuff down exactly right now, but this is based on what some other municipalities have been doing. And some of them also have outside, zoning, which does have multiple people and weekend hours. I'm not saying we're considering that, but I'm also, not committing to a single approach. We want to evaluate how it will be used before we make a final determination on changing operational practices like that, because it does consume resources and time.
Yeah.
But the thought is that this is gonna be broadly applicable and not meant to fix every single, instance. It's like, Drew said, it's about habitual offenders, it's about preserving the general quality of life, so. That's
How
what
many times have we had these problems that you think we may need this in the future, or is this something that just came up because of the motorcycle?
we've been dealing with this for the better part of 3-4 years, right, Len?
I need to say something. Am I assuming this? We are going nuts on weekends. We're right there, okay? My husband said maybe we could call the state police on this noise. We can't because our township doesn't have a noise ordinance. So therefore, if the noise ordinance is put in, we'd still be able to call.
Right, and we'll be able to interact with the state police, so we do have that
Right,
ability to
so I'm
coordinate with that.
thinking
So it's not
on
100%.
this term that I could still call the state police because we finally have a noise ordinance in.
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking it goes hand in hand. Right now, we're just going nuts. We can't call anyone.
Absolutely. Right.
So if you hate me, I'm sorry, come to my house and sit there and listen. 4 days a week now.
But Jacob, you should lay it out who to call and make that phone number available on the site.
We would absolutely do so.
So this ordinance doesn't necessarily dictate anything in terms of the zoning. So if it's property line from M1 to an R1, it's still the same decibel level. It'll still be, so this will protect against people that live near an M1, such as some of our other neighbors on Taylor Drive that are worried about the airport area.
Sure.
Okay.
100%.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to ask about the, on page 3, plainly audible. So, and it reads, the last line reads, plainly audible observation alone is sufficient to support and prove a noise disturbance. So does that mean that there's no decibel reading involved in that plainly audible section?
Correct.
So, yeah, that, actually, that's a great point. That might have been a holdover that
Yeah,
is needed now.
Yeah.
I don't know if this ordinance references plainly audible.
No, it doesn't. That's just it's extraneous there, but that's why we sort of mitigated with the other. By yourself or someone.
So in other words, regardless if it's a nuisance or a noise problem, you're going to need a decibel reading. Is that really the bottom line?
It is generally the case in this ordinance for that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it is difficult, to plainly audible is like awesome for some limited circumstances, but it's super difficult to enforce when it comes to, when the other side lawyers up or whatever. Like especially in this case, we're gonna say, no, that's not how we heard it over here.
Yeah.
We wanna have this, cleanly enforceable.
Yeah,
So,
okay, all
A little
right.
more work on the front end.
All right, I haven't really had a chance to study it, but I'll probably have the question.
Yeah, there's gonna be, and then this will be the November Planning Commission meeting. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but it will be November 9th. That'll be the next time that this comes up.
Okay.
One more question. Can you explain? Okay, so it goes to the planning commission and say you get it straightened out, then it comes back here to get approved?
Correct,
Is that correct?
correct, so
Then
the
what happens?
so the planning commission, so we have to solicit official reviews from both the county planning commission, the township planning commission. And then from that point, we have to advertise it. I think it's once a week for 2 successive weeks, and then we're able to adopt it at once.
Also, it has to go to the county planning
Correct,
commission also.
because they have full-time professionals that review it as well.
Okay,
And then provided there's no changes after either of those reviews, then you can move forward to the end.
It takes more time than we would like, but that's.
yeah.
And you must provide by law 30 days for that review, so that has to go out before you adopt it.
Let me say, Mr. Chair, that if in fact this is not gonna be a zoning ordinance, it's gonna be a standalone ordinance. There does not need to be a review by county. There does not need to be 2 advertised
right,
just reviewed by our planning commission if you want, that's not even a requirement. And advertising one time, not less than 7 or more than 60 days from the date.
great, sorry, I was talking that to me. So if it were zoning, that other.
It was zoning, where you said, okay,
Yes.
fine. My understanding is that you don't want it to be zoning.
Correct.
You want it to be a standalone ordinance that could be moved more quickly. So I think you do not need to do that. Now, if you want to give it to county to review. you
So
certainly
we value their, Aaron, but we.
Right, you value there, let's see what they say, you can certainly do that, but it's not
Sorry, I
required.
misstated that, but
That's okay.
that's our intention.
And
who's gonna do the pressing the charges, the township or the people complaining?
We, both options are possible then. Anyone can file a private complaint, but the township would be taking the lead on those.
I don't think that's anything new in that. We also had a
Correct.
different neighbor that was years ago that was doing things. And he kept getting fined. So I don't think that's anything new in the township where they keep fining him
Right.
for every day that he did something. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not anything new for the township. They've always done that.
Yeah, well, absolutely, when people, you know, their trash is screwed all over the place, or dump 100 tires on their front lawn, yeah. Anything else before we go to our next item? Appreciate everyone's input, this is good. Next is the consideration of a quote to repair our bucket truck. We got some good news, which we're very fortunate to have this week. Julie, do you want to talk about your discussion with the Director of Public Works?
Sure, so back, a couple of months ago, we had our bucket truck inspected, and unfortunately, they did not pass, so we haven't been able to use it. As such, we've been very, very lucky that Middle Smithfield Township has been loaning us theirs for the required tree work. But we finally got the repair quote back from the company that inspected it. The gentleman that was here and looked at it assumed it would be somewhere between $20,000 to $40,000, with the assumption that it would probably be closer to 40, which is why we started the process for initially looking to buy a new bucket truck. Because paying $40,000 for a repair for 1 year versus paying maybe 30 a year to get a new one, didn't really make sense. But we got the quote back from the gentleman, and we're looking at a quote repair price of $9,100, which will get the truck fully inspected and allow it to be used again safely by our employees. So this is obviously not in our budget, but if you do approve this evening, it means that we can take, considering purchasing the new bucket truck out of the budget and save a lot of money.
Yeah, this gets us by for a while, and you know, with the increased paving, especially in-house that we're planning to do next year, this helps us cut back the brush and will be considerably better than having borrowed it. So I don't have any objection to it, and I think Chris did an awesome job getting it set. So I move that we approve the bucket truck repair quote from President. Second. Motion by myself, second by Mr. Loveenheim, any questions?
So Brian, you muted.
Brian's muted, so if you want to hear his vote, you gotta take him off.
It's not, you're gonna say here.
Oh,
Yeah. All in favor?
I just, who, can you tell us who the quote was with?
Yeah, Versa left.
Versa Lit, are
Yes.
they some local people
They're
or
from that line.
Your back or.
Versa Lit?
Yeah, Versa left. Yep, they're from that line.
Bethlehem?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Hey,
There's 2-1. Board of Supervisors report, I don't have anything personally to note. Barbara, do you have anything to note? Brian, do you have anything to note?
no, I don't.
Bills for the period are $116,460.27. And everything in there is regular utilities, tree cutting. Signal service updates with the traffic signals, engineering and healthcare. Do I hear a motion on that?
Make a motion to approve the bills.
Motion by Mr. Levin, and second by myself. Question. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any public comment?
On the budget exactly, or?
Anything? Yeah.
I was scanned for this one. I'm very new to this whole process, and I would just like to first and foremost say, I apologize for not participating long before now. It's our duty, and if we're not here when the decisions are being made, much like voting, vote, you can't complain. So that's the approach I'm taking to my visit here and my future visit here.
That's true.
I'm also getting up to speed kind of late in the game as well, so some of the questions I ask may be, sophomoric or, so here's my question. Here's one of my questions. This is all referencing back to the healthy minds and to water gap or wellness and all that.
Sure.
That's the bee in my bonnet. It's my understanding that there was an ordinance passed specifically allowing rehabs in an R1 zone. Is that true?
Yes, yeah.
And when was that put on the books?
Started in June of 2021 on parcels of over 40 acres.
40 or 25? I thought it was 25, but again,
25, sorry.
okay. So I'll cut to the chase. What's the most expeditious route I can take to get that overturned and struck off the books? How do we make that go?
Yeah, that's something we're discussing because the debate at the time over site-specific relief, the intention was not designed to permit that anywhere on 25-acre parcels. The idea was it was site-specific relief cited in the case law that our solicitor mentioned at that time. What was that, Bedminster things?
I believe so. I don't recall.
The intention was for that to be site-specific only for that case and not going forward. So that's an.
And was that for the Mountain Road property?
Yes.
Waterback Wellness?
Yes.
And was that because there was not a zone in the township for that type
Correct.
property? And there must be by law, I'm assuming,
Yeah, sure.
otherwise you wouldn't have had to go down that
I
road.
can give you a copy of the.
Okay, well, you're just getting me some documents, but it's taking me a little longer to get through them than your meeting scheduled out. So again, I'll ask my question again. What is the most expeditious route I can take to help you make this not be an ordinance anymore? How do we
You
fix
just made that
this?
point, so simply, we're just going to have the solicitor draft an ordinance that takes that out of the schedule of district use regulations. So that will take a review of both the county and the township planning commission. So the soonest that would be the November 9th meeting. And then take 30 more days from that.
To actually have an ordinance discussed? I just want to make sure I understand, I apologize. if I have
The
to-
planning commission meeting, November 9th.
Okay,
So
and then what would happen then?
at that point, the planning commission would review that ordinance and then they would recommend to the board of supervisors approving it or not approving it.
Okay, so
The county planning commission does the same thing, except their reviews are generally more technical in nature and not related to the policy. The planning commission is generally more about policy.
got it, so,
However, that wouldn't affect any application that
Correct.
we have.
Right.
understood,
Just one.
yes, understood, yeah,
You're
understood.
100%.
But in order to prevent it from happening,
For instance, if we did this, then let's say somebody couldn't put another one at Mountain Meadows.
And that's our intention. We don't want that sooner.
right,
The site specific relief, as explained at the time, was much better than what it is in practicality. So that it is our intention to this happen. So we were first to get a draft.
so does that mean that the planning commission will have ordinance to discuss on the night? Or?
That would be like a 20-word ordinance, right, Ron? I mean, that would be.
I gotta proceed. If this was a municipal curative amendment, I
Right.
may not be able to do anything for 5 years.
Well,
I mean, I have to see that first.
well, I know it's not 5 years. It's.
Okay.
I promise that. Now, I know that it deals with them, they had some, but with regard to others. you can't, when you declare, when we do, remember, we can't revisit something for 36 months. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm looking now, the 36-month,
it's something.
they go back and try to amend it or do
Right,
something.
but that would be like when we declare, so that would really only apply to us insofar as warehouses would be my understanding. But we're all good on that.
Yeah, you can't go back and use the municipal period of amendment approach,
Right.
again, for 36 months, so. I think you're okay with that, and if not, then someone files something and, we'll see them in court. I've been in there 2 times in the last 48 years.
Sure. So that'd be our intention.
So rephrase your answer.
Yes, we're going to.
Recap your answer for that.
And seeing as it would be pretty short, I don't see why that wouldn't be able to be reviewed by the planning commission on our night.
On the 9th, okay. So is that like, we're gonna do this, like?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, cool. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Alright. Would like to hear a motion to adjourn?
I think, be one other.
Oh, with one other hand?
Yeah, should I just?
Thanks for the time.
Hi, guys, yeah. Eric White. I brought plans. We purchased the property, my company purchased the property on River Road. Islandburg Landing property. Currently zoned R1, but we're surrounded on both sides by hotel property. We were looking to show plans for potential sustainably built hempcrete boutique hotel.
For what?
So like a sustainable boutique hotel, hempcrete, like my.
Talked to this in October of 2020.
We can tell you, yeah. So I hired Elliott Ace upon contracting to take on the work. We got our architect to draw everything up, and we just want to submit for the variance for the hotel.
Well,
Sure.
it's
So here, but yeah, you can.
it's a strange property that it is surrounded by hotel properties, even the Wyndham properties, which started as timeshares, are now mainly overnight accommodation places. Wyndham now advertises on bookings.com and Airbnb, and the majority of what were the timeshares are owned by Wyndham and just rented out as hotel rooms. So it seems like, what are you doing in the middle of this as an R1? I don't know.
Well,
The easiest way to rectify this, be just
The easiest way is for you to pursue the zone change that he's pursuing.
to.
That's the zone, he's gonna file for a
Change it too, since I think it may be R1 around, but it's the PRD, so he's the only one not in the PRD.
Now that we're gonna have, let the zoning hearing board take it.
And you don't want spots open.
So that's why the zoning hearing board. took it.
Okay, so it's a PRD.
Both sides, PRD, yeah.
Well, this property in the PRD.
It's surrounded by it.
Okay,
Yeah, from what we understand,
and he's gotta file for variance.
the variance.
It's not something change, it's a variance. You're saying, I don't wanna be able to do what I can do here, I wanna do something else.
With the zoning hearing board.
Yes,
Yeah, the zoning hearing board.
And just so I understand too, with the R1, the in clause regarding an R1, you are able to do an in on an R1 zone as long as it's 10 acres. We are 8 acres. But there's some strange property things going on. So after the survey is finished, we'll know a little bit more about that.
Yeah,
So, file for a hearing.
File for a hearing.
Board.
yeah,
You got it.
we can get you all the docs and that'll get you prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Perfect.
I can't see where you have much of a problem under the circumstances.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thanks for coming. Right, your motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Loveenheim, second by myself, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.